Hello everyone, and welcome back. Now, as you can guess by the title, I'm here to talk about something. Now, my story started several days ago. Actually, it was about 2 days ago, actually. Went out for the day, had fun, came home, and I noticed some of the flags that had been put up by the local patriots had become torn and, well, just torn and barely recognisable due to the bad weather. And I was like, that's terrible. But I didn't think much of it. Anyway, the next day, didn't have much on, so I thought, I know, I could take some photos if they're still there, and I'll put the local patriots to shame. So I went up, took photos, and then I remembered I was meant to head into Worthing, because I said I was going to meet my parents for lunch. So, realising I was short on time and further away from Worthing than ever by this point, I decided to catch a bus. And what happened was, I got to the bus, took my headphones off, and there was another woman waiting there for a bus. And I was told that buses were running late, which was a shame, but not much could be done to help that. So, nothing really happened. I thanked her and said thanks for letting me know and went about my day. Checked the old app for the local bus ride because I'm one of those people that has an app for most things. Found the time and realised, I had about 5-10 minutes for a bus. About a minute goes by and I notice she has a dog. He doesn't seem too happy. Because apparently, I found this out later, so I'm going to carry on. Anyway, had a dog, picks him up and says, don't worry, we'll be alright. Because the dog didn't seem too happy about something. I didn't know at the time. And I just said it. Do they like riding on the bus, I said. And at that point, as you can probably guess, let's get rid of this shiny. I started a conversation, which I think is pretty amazing. I actually started a conversation, which is something I barely ever do. Well, I can't remember last time I really started a proper conversation. I mean, I've had other people say stuff to me and I reply back, but it's never actually just been me initiating an actual conversation. So anyway, I said, does your dog like riding the bus? Because I remember I took my previous dog Fred on the bus once and he hated it. He was terrified for some reason. Don't know why, just was. I did ask him, but he didn't give me an answer because, that's how dogs are. We got talking and she said he's not too keen on the bus, but he does okay. And he was annoyed because apparently she would walk him first and then do her errands with him. But today is going to be the opposite. And we got talking about 2-3 minutes about dogs and buses. And it was really nice. It's a really nice conversation. And it's not something I really do because most of the time, as you can probably tell, I have my headphones in my ears, like here. As in Australia. What you'll usually see from me is this. Let me quickly show. So you'll see 1 in and 2 in. So you see like this. You can't really notice it much when you're a casual walker on the street, but as you can tell, I see that 1, 2. Actually, I'll give you a fun fact. When I bought these, despite being pink, I could have sworn these were orange or at least a salmony type colour. So I remember I reserved them. I reserved the blue, I think it was. Might have been a light blue, was it a lime green maybe? I can't remember. The colour is irrelevant. I went there and they said, I'm afraid we don't have your colour. I said, what have you got? They said, we only got pink, is that okay? I looked at it and they showed me this. I thought, that's not pink. That is salmon, look. That is definitely pink. But at the time I could have sworn these were salmon. I know. It is a bit weird. My eyes were a bit messed up, but yeah, I did. I could have sworn they were pink. Anyway, so let me put these back. Okay, we're back in. Okay, anyway, as I was saying, normally I have those things in my ears. So if people talk to me, I don't usually hear them. And if I'm honest, most of the time I have headphones on, it's not so much to avoid conversation, it's more to avoid the voice in my head here. Because sometimes listen to music, but I mostly listen to podcasts, comedies, funny stuff mostly, just to avoid the thoughts in my head and my own intrusive thoughts. And that day was no different from any other, really. Because I walked up to where those flags were, I took the photos. I'll put photos on the screen now so you can actually see what I'm on about. I can tell you now, it is disgraceful that they were left like that. Especially by the people who I know put them up. Anyway, I'm not going to get into politics here. Although technically I already have. Anyway, as I was saying, I walked back. I did have my headphones in that day. I took them out when I got to the bus stop. Because I thought, this other person may talk to me. And if they ask, and I will actually be able to hear them, because it's nothing worse than having someone saying, you go, excuse me. You take the earphones and go, excuse me, and they just go, ugh. Don't like people wear headphones. So I decided to be polite. And it worked out. But that was just a nice short conversation, which is something I barely ever do. Because the lack of human interaction is basically a big defining feature of my life. I spent many years avoiding these random conversations, even though the funny thing is, they mostly go fine for me. So I don't know why, but it's something I usually end up dreading. It's like having to make those phone calls you have to make sometimes. I do them and I think to myself, I'll put it off for days and days until the last second. Then I'll finally work up my courage to do it, and then afterwards I'll be like, that weren't so bad. What am I so worried about? I won't do that next time. I do. Every friggin' time. Anyway. And yes, I am aware I keep saying, anyway. The point of this is that if you are like me and you do wear headphones out, don't. Try not to. I'm not going to say don't, because I know sometimes, like me, you just need to avoid the voice in your head. And I understand that. So I'm not going to say don't use them, but what I'm going to say is put them in your pocket. Just put them in your pocket for later, for when you might need them. But before that, if you're catching, say, a bus, don't wear them. If like me, you like dogs, you can ask someone about a dog. You can say, are they friendly? You can say something. Well, you don't have to say, are they friendly? You say, such a lovely dog. Are they friendly? You can say. And if they say yes, then you can, give that dog a little stroke or make a little fuss of them. Because dogs love that. And humans like that too. And again, it doesn't have to be a dog. It could be, you could just notice someone with something on them that can strike a conversation. I mean, dogs is an easy one. Because it's not as if you're actually talking to another person. They know you're most interested, but you're still getting that human interaction. Because if you're like me, you seriously lack in it and you need to do a lot more of it. And I know a lot of people will be listening thinking, well, so what? I talk to people every day. But if you're like me, then it's a great thing. And I know there's people watching this who are like me, who struggle with so many simple things. And I just want to say now, okay, most of these things, half the time, are not scary. They're not bad things. We just make them out that they are, because that's who we are. We make things out to be worse than what they are. We obsess over them. We ruminate. And yes, that is a word I picked up from my OCD book. We ruminate over these things and thinking it's terrible, we got to avoid them, but most of the time it's not bad. It's not that bad. I'm not saying go out to a person and ask them out or whatever. I'm just saying, just have a quick 1 minute conversation with people. It's great. It's nice. And you'll feel better for it afterwards too. So, next time you go out, put your headphones in your pocket. Don't use them, but just put them in your pocket. And just, if you see something that you can start a conversation with, just quickly mention it. As I said, dogs are the perfect way to start a conversation with someone. Because it's not really about the other person, it's about the dog. But you still, even though it is about the dog, you're still chasing that human interaction and you're still getting it. So, as I said, next time, try not to wear your headphones. And I stress the word try because I get it's hard for some of us out there, okay? But try, people, okay? Just try and make a bit more of an effort. Because it's easy to say, no, we don't. It's easy just to disappear into yourselves. You know? So easy. But just give it a try, people, okay? I promise. Okay, it can go well, okay? And forget the promises. I'm not going to make any promises. Because anything can happen, but most of you who do this will have a positive outcome afterwards. I did. And will that make me more likely to have conservative appeal? Yes, I think it will. Okay? And before you know where you are, I'll be going up and up and up and up in my self-image. It don't even, as I said, it doesn't have to be a serious thing. Just, just say hello to someone. You're waiting for a bus, say hello. If you're at a park and someone next to you, just acknowledge them and smile. They got a dog, and ask about the dog. Or if you see they're carrying something from a shop that sells, or if you see them carrying something that might interest you, just say, oh, that's neat. That's it. Don't have to do anything more. Just chase a little interaction. If they're not interested, then they're not interested. Just get on with your day. So with that, I'm going to finish because I'm just going to keep repeating myself again and again and again. So take care of yourselves, people. Bye.